everyone! Welcome to part 2 of a crap guide to Final Fantasy XIV. In part 1, we looked at how to tank, heal, and DPS, and now we're going to look at the melee range and magic DPS in of themselves, because, you know, more content, easy content, haha, smile. Let's appreciate the effort that Joe's put in. Also,
this
please...
is recorded on the same day. She's wearing the same shirt.
Yeah, same shirt. You may point out the fact that I am an Asmongold lookalike gremlin that wears the same shirt 3 days in a row.
Asmongold only has one shirt.
Oh no, we know that. We know that for a fact. We absolutely do. Also, freaking ads, man, I need my ad blocker. You can really tell when I recorded all this, can't you?
And I'm Lynn. I'm here as a background noise.
Oh yeah, you guys go follow Lynn. Lynn's great. Also drinky. Okay, let's enjoy melee DPS.
Team player, but honestly, I've always felt like the best way to help the team is by crushing whatever obstacle that's in the way with my heavily toned squat receipts. So that's it. No more playing for anybody else. I play
feel
for
like
me,
melee
baby.
DPS is probably the most underappreciated DPS of any of the subclasses. I've always been a caster. If I'm not a tank, I'm a caster. Mage, specifically.
The raid wipes from now on is no longer my fault. I only exist to make big numbers fly towards the screen and watch my skill bar light up like a Christmas tree at a rave party. And you bet your precious patoot the progress preventers will be promptly pounded because this potent projector of pain will be peppering those beasties until your pack is paved with enough resulting pellets that every peddler will pray to be pampered by a more palatable pacifist.
Yo, Eminem up in this shit. He's properly protruding that posturing, poignant, poetic pandering. Yeah. Phraseology.
Welcome to a crap guide to Final Fantasy.
Sorry, phraseology. Oh shit, this is 9 minutes long. Damn.
Being a DPS is like being the king of capitalism, because the way you play, taking care of others, is for bitches. Pay no attention to anybody else's well-being unless it directly affects you, and so long as you're alive and safe, you can act like anything bad that happens around you is probably not your fault. All that brain power instead will be put towards what really matters, your complicated as shit damage rotation. That's right, step aside tanks 1, 2, 3,
You'd sound like Lil V.
damage buttons. These are where the big guys and gals play. Or at least that's
V.
what they like to tell themselves, since one of the only party utilities they have to worry about is pressing the faint button once in a blue moon. Their hotbar will more often have dozens of buttons all dedicated to big damage.
One thing I'll say as well, one thing that Final Fantasy does that I really appreciate is not have an abundance of reliance on add-ons. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, add-ons are specifically illegal in Final Fantasy, if I'm not mistaken. And I appreciate that, because I feel like World of Warcraft has had its entire existence degenerated down to the necessity of add-ons.
The melee DPS is the most important person in the party, as you are
Wanna watch me get a vuln for a second of uptime? Wanna watch me do it again? Featuring Dante from Makari. Wazd is completely rubbed off. LB's boss 3 expansion late. You get a gap closer and you get a gap... Meh. Oh, and you get a gap closer and you get a gap closer. And you get Yoshi P sitting on your face. What?
the one on the front lines inspecting the bad guy's anus like it's where all the Hrothgar hats are hiding, while avoiding the enemy's sprays of hot, poisonous gamer stink. Not only are you going to be up in their grill turning their cheeks into a ripe tomato while flip-flopping in and out of danger like you're a politician making pancakes, you're also going to make...
I'm sorry, I'm going to pause one last time just because... Oh my god, Panda Viking with a Prime Gaming! Ah, thank you so much! You didn't have to do that. Guys, Panda Viking is also like an amazingly interesting person because they make food and they constantly tease me with food porn in my DMs because they know that it's going to get me more turned on than somebody who plays a Hrothgar in Final Fantasy 14. And I appreciate it! Hi, Panda. Thank you.
This game is a strip club? Where do I download
Oh,
it?
yeah. Like, you thought the World of Warcraft's Goldshire was a thing. Final Fantasy makes ERP in World of Warcraft look like a casual gentleman's club.
an adult film star and learn positionals. Certain attacks in your damage rotation will require you to land them in specific areas around the enemy target, specifically the rear and the flank, in order to deal additional damage. How do you tell where those positions are? By the massive disembodied titty underneath the target. See this nipple? That's the front, where the tank will be sucking on the sweet milkies that are tank busters, which obviously means this conspicuous ticulus on the opposite end is the rear. What about the flank?
The gold
That'll be
saucer.
on either side of the enemy. And if you're ever confused
Or
as
the
to where
roleplay
each area
ones.
begins and ends, a useful tip on how to tell is imagine there's a big X dividing each of the quadrants. Or you could just press true north.
See, this has been a big thing that I appreciate. But like, okay, two things that I really appreciate about Final Fantasy: the social side of it, the role play, the community side I mentioned earlier. But it's also the fact that there is just things created by the community that people go to. It's great. The player housing, the events that people do themselves, the immersive community, something that other MMOs severely lack. Also, the second thing that I was going to talk about is the identifiable features that allow you to understand what it is you're looking at, unlike World of Warcraft, where every single thing that ever happens seems to blend into the floor, like my brain blending into the floor after somebody punches me in the head. That's a different story. Ah!
And pretend positions don't
Achoo.
exist like it's an
Ah.
embarrassing memory of that time you did the Gangnam Style at school, ironically. The only time it isn't the
Or
case is when
planked.
the enemy has a full
You guys
ring
remember
without an opening,
planking?
in which case you won't have to worry about any of that guff, and you can just sit there like an off-tank who's actually having fun. Otherwise, between hopping back and forth
Fun?
in these two spots and
In
running
my
around
video
catching up to
games?
the boss whenever the tank feels like doing cardio,
I
your
had
little
fun
wall's
once.
legs are gonna get so much working out that they'll be thick as the milk from the teats of a whale made of molasses. Which is to say, expect to move.
Also, it might not come as a surprise, but my glamour in Final Fantasy is either femboy Hooters or guy in a dress.
It was just a new FNAF animatronic.
Basically.
A lot.
Hum, 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 hum.
What if I'm not in the right place for a position or the boss is far away? Just remember the old adage. Always be casting! If you're not
Yeah!
able to land your positionals, or if the boss is too far away to make a melee attack, be sure to always be pressing your buttons no matter what. Unless you're a monk who has no ranged attack and you have to sit there thinking about how your job will inevitably be reworked yet again in the next patch. However, there is another secret epic
Like
gamer
playing a
option
hunter
that
in World
allows
of
you to
Warcraft.
maximize the DPS you output at the risk of yourself as well as potentially everybody else. But it's usually
No,
the
wait, sorry,
healers.
like
This
playing any
technique
class
is
in World of
called
Warcraft.
greed. The funny thing about AoE markers in Final Fantasy XIV is that they only ever mark you for damage if you are standing in them the moment they go away. This means that if you're fast on your fingers, you can stand there DPSing the bad guy while soaking in their radioactive orange juice until the very last second.
Another
when you
thing I had to
backflip out just
acclimatize
as the
to.
dropkick of doom skims your fuzzy anime hairs and you don't lose a second of uptime. As I said, however, this is a high risk. If your timing is off and you spend just a millisecond too long, you'll be covered in cheese puffs. You might even die, or in some cases, you'll have to suffer a
I also like the fact he's managed to explain this with no need of comparing to other MMOs like I've been doing. Like, he's explaining it incredibly well and succinctly, where a lot of people like myself have needed to compare to other games to have some association to it.
Yeah, do your job better. Come on.
Shut up! Last time I invite you into a collab, Jesus.
fate worse than
I'm
having to read
reacting
the
to your
entire 24-hour
reaction.
chat log of Limsa. Damage down. It's okay,
DPS.
nobody's gonna take away your big damage numbers. Papa's here to make sure you don't greed too hard if you're not ready, okay?
Oh,
okay.
little
As the
baby.
melee DPS, you also have first dibs on limit break against most bosses since yours deals the most damage. Specifically
will
when they're
say-
single. This is because when you hit the limit break button, you're not actually attacking them, just showing them pictures.
This is gonna sound highly big brain of me. That is not what I was gonna say. Did not stop putting words in my mouth like magic. The timing on that, good lord. Thank you though. The thing I was gonna say, and the difference between my experience between Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft is the catharsis of actually doing your rotation. Oh, you know what? All right, continuing on. Note to self in editing: go back and keep in the part about catharsis and edit out the bit where chat had been interrupting me for the last 15 minutes. Stop it!
That's so sad. Can I get a sub in the chat? Because this is so sad.
Carrying on, as chat have made it their indentured nature to try and interrupt me at every poignant time they can.
Of a happy, healthy
Next
relationship.
up in editing, go back and
nothing
add in the
makes
part
more
about
emotional
catharsis.
damage. Just ask Oriange. But what are the individual jobs whom of which meleeeth said up
Shut
close
up, Billy.
slappers to thine adversaries? There are 5 and each one is a different flavor of anime and edge. Monk, for
Hell
those
yeah.
of you who want to go fast, having one of the shortest global cooldowns in the game means you'll be dealing out punches like you're a pissed off caterer at a middle school sock hop.
I
Instead of
think
the
that might have
traditional
been my
combos,
biggest
each
problem.
attack puts you in a
Was that I just never got far enough into the game to unlock a character in its fullest. Like, I think that's kind of Final Fantasy's maybe issue, so to say, is that you never really get the truest experience of the character until you've gotten to the unlocked all of its abilities. Which, to be fair, that's just progression, right?
specific stance. Bird, cat,
Sure,
and
Billy.
monkey. Each one combos into another attack that benefits from each respective stance. Your rotation will be all about swapping stances around more than a kid trying sick moves to impress their crush at a middle school sock hop. You also have perfect balance, which allows you to go freestyle and pick whichever stance you're feeling more
No,
at
I've
the
seen it
moment
well,
without
Kara.
having to do any of the normal stance setup. If you repeat the same stance 3 times during your freestyle, you get a purple token on your stylish moves punch card. And if you do 3 different stances during the freestyle, you get a white one. Do a freestyle with 3 unique moves one more time while you have both a purple and white tokens on your punch card, and you get to turn it in to make your crush dripping wet with damage because for some
What?
reason you get to kick them in the face. The only problem is
It's like playing a rogue. No. Death Knight. This seems complicated. You mean I have to press more than one button? The fuck?
you are the only melee without a ranged attack to keep your uptime. And although you do have a dash that lets you zip around like Goku on a triple shot Ristretto down blend macchiato, if ever you find yourself without a target to punch during combat, you can call timeout on your buffs so they stop moving while you have a little
Oh,
cry
that's
because
actually
your
super
crush
cool.
rejected you at the middle school sock hop. Dragoon is probably the most straightforward of the melee classes and the one most likely to have a tragic backstory. You've got a 5-button combo that swaps between hard slaps and sakura flowers and a handful of buffs that will turn anybody else in the party into your partner in dragon slaying. What kind of dragon slaying? That's up for you to decide. Which you'll have plenty of time
Alright,
to do
bounce,
while
the
You're
bow wow.
suspended 20 moms
They
in the
said
air,
to,
dropping
they
in
never
like a
said we had to
scantily
lay
clad
or
human
slay the
airstrike who's got a
dragon.
date with Nidhogg at 5 and a party at the quicksand at 6.
What did
Yes,
they?
the Matanga in the room. Dragoon has several damage-dealing jumps necessary to unlocking special attacks in their rotation that will lock you into an animation, which means you're stuck and unable to move out of your location while the boss is
Also,
just about
Lolotop,
ready
thank
to
you for the
piss
resub,
all
by the
over
way, I
the
saw
floor
that.
right before you land. So be wary when using your
Love you,
jumps, lest you
Lolotop.
fling yourself right into a danger puddle and perpetuate the tired singular joke the 14 community has for the class. On the bright side, though, you do get the objectively best jump.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my other point I'm going to make about this. The worst part about any game like this, and the best part, is always its community. I've seen the nonsense and the devotee and zealotist nature that people have to this game. And I get it. I understand you enjoy your games. But my god, you guys like to make the entire world know it. Hi, Alex.
A mentor in the form of Ninja is great for people who enjoy American football, because for every 10 seconds of excitement, there's a minute of fuck all. Your rotation is all about fitting every goddamn cooldown you can into a small window of time where you make the enemy take more damage. And on top of that, you also have the ability to
So,
live
a
out every
warrior with
lead's dream and do a
recklessness?
bunch of hand gestures to cast magic attacks, and also drop down into a low position and run with your arms flopping behind you in the breeze.
Oh my
Which
god,
Fantasy
it's
objectively proves
Boruto!
makes you go faster. You got 3 hand symbols,
like
and
that
depending on what
anime.
order you do, you will make a different kind of anime reference. For example, going Chi Tenjin Tenjin Chi Chijin unlocks the secret dark ending of Cory in the house and causes the enemy to be susceptible to bonus damage. But maybe you're facing a mob of enemies who are immune to A-rank powered life forms, so you'll instead have to go Tenjin Jin Chijin Chijin Ten Chijin Tenchi for 3.
Ah, yes, of course.
Ah, yes! Obviously. Right? Obviously. Because, I mean, if you didn't understand that's what you needed to do, you're an idiot.
3 seasons of Sonic Underground, which will kick sand into their eyes with how fast you'll be running circles around the slowpokes. More or less, you'll have to do some studying up on what combos do what. But here's a secret
Ah, yes,
cheat
the thing
sheet.
I enjoy in my
Only
escapism.
the final mudra in the sequence matters.
Fuck, it's the skill floor police. Jesus! Samurai, the job most likely to have a dick measuring contest with a black
I'm
mage.
sorry,
And
can
be
we just
careful,
listen to
though,
that a little bit again? That. Hey, shh, listen. It's the secret.
to do some studying up on what combos do what. But here's a secret cheat sheet.
Uh-huh.
Only the final mudra in the sequence matters.
Fuck, it's the skill floor police. Cheese it! Samurai, the job most likely to have a dick measuring.
That is the equivalent of revealing Colonel Sanders' secret ingredient for KFC. Hey, you want to hear a secret? It's pepper.
Contest with a black mage. I'd be careful though, their dad works at Square Enix. This weeb is the most selfish of the melees, as it provides no utility for the rest of the party and instead acts like the average soccer player, focusing on being the star of the show who gets all the attention, especially when it drops to the floor clutching its knee when somebody sneezes on them. Your attacks contribute to a kink bar, which allows you to shame the enemy in a variety of ways.
Yeah,
as your
you know what, that
katana is
holds
also
up,
a substitute
especially
for a
towards
horny
British
guy. So you remember
football.
how the monk has a punch card? Well, so do you, except yours is your sword and the punches are stickers. You have 3 basic combos, each one giving you
Ooh,
a slight
pretty.
buff and slapping a sticker onto your katana. And depending on how many stickers you have, you will get one of 3 different
Final Fantasy
rewards
definitely has a
when you
good
turn in your
aesthetic to
sticker
it.
sheet. With 1 sticker, you'll apply a dot that'll last longer than it takes to clean your room. Don't lie to me, I know a majority of my audience has depression. 2 stickers will try.
Hey now. Hey,
He got me
hold
out
up.
so hard.
You're not supposed to say it like that, dude. Come on, don't point.
Not even fair.
Don't. You know what? It's fine. It's absolutely fine, and I will deny and mask like everyone else out here.
80% of you fuckers just looked around in your room, and I
Yeah.
did too.
Just is he talking to? Wow, he just called me out like that. What an asshole. Yeah, he said the loud bit quiet and the quiet bit loud. What a douchebag. You know, that actually does point, like, this little pause helps me to say this. I think, like, this is the thing with MMOs. There's always, like, a core fan base for almost every, like, for MMOs in general. But it's, like, whatever flavor of MMO is your thing, right? Like, people who enjoy Final Fantasy can also enjoy World of Warcraft, but everyone has a preferred style of MMOs. And it's kind of about finding the one that works for you and the way you want to play them. And I think that's kind of why there's so much divisivity between what people think is the best. Because I know there's a lot of people who really like Elder Scrolls Online, or Guild Wars 2, or the other MMOs that exist that I've completely forgotten the name of.
Charge up an AoE around you. And 3 stickers will make.
Sekiro? Ninja Sword! Ah, samurai warrior. Great honor to fight you.
Each sticker
Dos de
attack
san.
also gives you an additional separate sticker. And once you have 3 of those, you get to do an additional
Oh my wa.
Reaper. The
Machinery.
who got the rest to mauled at the fact that they think they're better than.
Oh boy. I think I know what class I'm going to be aiming towards if I've got Daddy Death here clinging onto my shoulders. Like, sheesh!
Who got the rest to
Yeah,
mauled
you
at the
make
fact
fun
that
of
they think
healer.
they're better than the rest of the melees. Which I mean they are, but don't let any Reaper hear you say that. It'll go to their heads. Being the darkest and edgiest of melees means that your job
Just
gauge is
like
the Dark
me.
Souls HUD. Similar to the Samurai, you build up a bar that can be spent on big slaps. And those big slaps give you edgy boy points that can be spent on additional big slaps. Except this time, they're coral blue number 5 semi-gloss lipstick. Once you've kissed enough boys to build up your fashion bar, you get to turn into a spooky ghost.
Guys, my jimmies are rustled. I am spooked.
You do the spooky slice. The spooky slice. Now your swings have some spice. You do the slice. It's just your soul that's the price. You do the slice. You do the spooky slice. And now you know how to play melee. You're welcome.
Woo! Education! Wow, I love the fact that melee DPS takes 9 minutes, but then range DPS is only 5, and then magic DPS is only 5. Let's learn!
Announcement, I'm partnering with Game
Oh, fuck off, Shy Lily!
Sups. If you want to try out some tasty energy drink flavors, you can get some free samples, and they even ship worldwide. If you like it and want more,
It's
use the
not
code
bad
JOCAT
as if
for
my
10%
fucking
off.
Twitter feed is filled with your
Turn around.
fucking faces enough as it is. No offense, Shy Lily. But my god, could you stay out of my videos?
Every now and then I get a little bit tired of being counted on to do complex tasks that involve more than it takes to eat a bowl of mushy cereal. In fact, I don't even feel motivated to hear what my allies need of me. I'm just gonna sit all the way over here, enjoying my lucky charms. Alone. And if things go
Aw,
wrong,
little
I'll have to rely
baby.
on the ever-reliable American method. I already
Guns.
see absolutely no negative consequences. Welcome to a crap guide to Final Fantasy.
Ah yes, time to learn how to be the best interpreter of social distancing.
I'm sick of having to dodge so many up-close AoEs. The boss keeps doing them, and I have to keep moving away to avoid getting splatted. And then I have to resort to the equivalent of throwing marshmallows that will scratch the enemy about as hard as a massage therapist.
Tough
with
life being a melee.
germophobia. I'm trying to beat them into submission, not soften their tenders. What's that I hear you say? There's an option to give me the ability to do max deets even when I'm disconnected from the boss like an internet provider out in the country? Of course there is. I was just getting to it, and I'll thank you not to interrupt me again. The physical range DPS. or
Jeez,
just range for
sorry.
short. Physically throwing my spleen
Even
into
Joe's
the
calling out my
splattering
pause
range of the
chanting.
near semi for long is the more mobile and forgiving cousin of the melee, and is the most important person in the party, since you are the least likely to get a commission in the end. And we thank you for providing such a valiant service, as there always needs to be someone in last place. Your role is all about keeping your uptime going, and although yes, every other role is also about trying to do that.
What do you guys
have
think is the worst
absolutely no
DPS in Final
excuse for
Fantasy?
messing up. The gimmick of the range DPS is that you don't have to
Ranger.
worry about any positionals or cast times and can run around the arena like an indecisive artist in a Hobby Lobby. You get to stay at a safe distance, and if there's ever a pissy puddle underneath your feet, moving out of the way won't risk you doing suboptimal damage. So what's the catch? Nobody gets off scot-free in this game, as all roles have their stonks and stinks. Tanks have the responsibility of dancing with the boss. Healers have to share gear models with the magic DPS that have been dyed white, and you will have to suffer the nail-pulling
I
drawback
hate it when they
known as
just
the
re-dye
ranged
outfits in
tax.
games.
Balanced for the fact that you have nearly no limitations on your mobility, your damage will be on average slightly less than both the melee and magic DPS jobs. And hell, sometimes even some tanks with their openers that'll put down bosses faster than PETA when it finds a stray. The range attacks all day real will make a
Oh,
tiny
they
drop
said
in
the loud
difference in
bit,
grand
the
scheme of
quiet
things,
bit
and if you
loud
pick a
again.
ranged job and feel as though you're being outdone by your peers, odds are you were probably doing badly anyway, and the reason you have trouble jumping over that hurdle was just because your toes were too big and floppy that you would have tripped over every single one so badly anyway. Discovery Channel would decide to make a show about whether or not you're real. Let me summarize. If you do bad, it's a skill issue.
I don't even need to know what
Nevertheless,
he's
the same
saying.
rules
It's good
as any
background
rule
noise.
applies in the fact that you should stay out of the piss puddles wherever possible. Even more
Okay,
so considering you're
piss
wearing
puddles
Heelys, and Marlon
bad.
should be able to
Noted.
avoid any and every possible puddle and be the nicest smelling at the party, which is important because the healers only have so much nasal tolerance. Lucky for you, each
True.
range also has a bottle of
Same, to
perfume
be honest.
spray that will at least
It's like
mask
going
the
to
piss
a
smell of it.
anime
The final
convention
shared
without
utility in the
deodorant.
belt of the Black Man is the limit break, which although does
Stinky.
not do as much single target damage as the melee, has the benefit of being able to hit multiple targets in a line like a really violent high-five surfer. The range roster is a trio of performers, each one skilled in a different
that's
charismatic
kinda
art, and each
small.
one a different flavor of slutty. First is the bard, where your bow is your
Yikes.
harp. Also, your harp is your harp, because with this job you get a bunch of instruments you can play, including these obnoxiously loud drums. You are one of the few jobs with the endangered species known as the damage over time skill, and your main attack involves firing a single arrow repeatedly until a bigger, cooler arrow gets jealous and sometimes asks to
shit.
be fired too. But not all the time, because it's not like it likes to be
Can I
shot.
just say, I feel like Hunter is the most basic. Like, people always hark on Warrior being the most basic, bitch, boring class in any MMO. But come on, dude, if you're a Hunter, you're just a guy with a bow.
or anything. You
bow
also
class
have a bunch
always.
of songs to play that will make everyone in the party hear a remix of their opening theme. And everybody knows when the opening kicks on, you deal more damage. Because you're the one playing them, you also get your own special benefits, you filthy, dirty performer, you. A song that sometimes lets you shoot
degradation.
more arrows when it feels like giving you some, a song that makes you shoot faster, and a song that lets you
I mean,
shoot
I am
more
learning.
arrows when it feels like giving you some, but a little bit different. All this arpeggios to a crescendo into a grand finale where you fire a big ol' arrow. And if you've played all your songs, you have the ability to face roll your piano and startle your party into doing even more damage. I said hit harder!
Now hold on to those notes there, partner. Masaka.
For the machinist's main attack, it uses a gun, the most selfish of the range classes.
Ah,
where the
yes,
name
my
of the game is-
favorite fantasy
Yeah, you
weapon.
can
And the
be an
name is labeled on
American?
a box called Your Doom being shipped to the enemy at terminal velocity. What you sacrifice in party buffs you make up for in big having 3 giant bullets
And then
a
he
bunch
pulled
of
out the
smaller, higher
gat.
frequency bullets. Doing your normal 1, 2, 3 will get your gun.
See, I'm led to believe that Harry Potter and any other fantasy universe would have been infinitely simpler and easier to solve if they just pulled out a Desert Eagle at any point.
Very hot and bothered until it's riled up enough to rapid fire its red hot goodness. And if you make sure to toss your special toy into the mix, it can end in an
Puffles!
explosive finish.
Hi.
Keep up that momentum, and eventually you can even invite your queen to join in the fun. Hey, I hear she's got multiple frequency settings. All this might make you feel like you're not contributing as much, but no.
Hey, wait a minute! Don't call me out like.
I don't know what
Listen,
that was, but I
just
wanna play
because
that.
I accidentally leaked my Love Ents code doesn't mean you call me out like that. Oh my god.
No need to be nervous. Lucky for you, this job comes with extra protection.
But you are not some simpleton who can be won over by some flashy lights and pretty songs. You want passion, romance, a partner who can live up to your standards.
The dancer forgoes buffing the
Nice.
entire party or focusing on doing its own damage and instead picks one party member. One extra special, extra spicy, extra sexy partner in crime to give a super buff in damage. in the
Final
form of
Fantasy
2
fan
extra
art.
flashy minigames of Simon Says. And then you do
My
a little
secret
bit of
Goku
blending and
hair.
sending the bodies flying. They're dying to birdies that give them birdies. And afterwards, it's just a matter
Aw.
of praying to Orange Jesus to bless your twinkle toes, because from there, it's all coin flips all the time. Your rotation is a 1 and a 2 that can coin flip into a 3 and a 4. And both of those can coin flip into either a single target or AoE 5, which itself is a coin flip into a possible 6. And once you're in rhythm,
math,
your Sydneys will
my
jump
one
up and
weakness.
dance in the wind like that million ribbons and kicking and flipping their carrions into your allies so they can annihilate all that's left. Yay, now they're dead. And now you know how to play
Okay, as if to make my edit. Oh, it's over server
range.
actually.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that lined up really well because we have an ad break coming in. Before we watch the last part, guys, I'm going to put the stream into an ad break because we have to do that at least once every hour or risk getting pre-rolls. Magic DPS!
Do you
We're almost
believe
there,
in
guys. We're
magic
almost there.
wearing a massive hat? It's a difficult skill and time-consuming at that, and it's magic, the explodious kind. The best one to make your
Magic.
party go fully blind. I'll tell you about the magic if you insist I must, but if I stand in AoEs, then healers got to adjust.
Healers, why didn't
And
you
then I'm gonna
adjust?
bust.
Welcome to a crap guide to Final Fantasy.
Whoa. Alright. If I was a ranged DPS, what do you think I'd do?
The last group of the derps per Cirque's job is the magical range DPS, or just magic for short. Look at the hat, nothing up my sleeves. You are the most important person in the party because when the going gets tough, a big hat is required. And the amount of damage you do is proportionally connected to the size of your brim. Where the melee is sniffing up the boss's farts and the range are shouting, "Yo mama."
Joe, you had no right to draw that dragon so caked up, you absolute degenerate.
Farts and the range are shouting "Yo mama" jokes while making love to the arena's boundaries. You are the healthy middle, standing your ground till you go down
Hi,
to Pound
Dean.
Town when you found the sound that makes the bad guys frown. You
Yeah!
don't do as much damage
Always
on
relevant
average as the
engineer
melees,
memes.
instead to trade it off for the utility of being able to attack at a range from anywhere in the arena, with one major difference from your physical range cousin, the cast bar. That little lightish red loading beam that you see just about every other main story quest when you have to search a suspicious bush or scout out for the next place Thancred will find yet another new color of depression. Most of your skills require you to
Oh,
stand
Thancred.
perfectly still in order to have your big numbers to go off, and if you so much as special edition Han Solo your neck to get a better angle at your hot naked tank, your skill stops and everybody
Literally
sees
me seeing Vieira, any Vieira. Anyone with the 2B thigh stockings.
you are no longer looking respectfully. Luckily, every single casting job usually has a lewd calendar's worth of tools to circumvent you having to staple your feet to the floor, which does mean in order to up your mobility without losing out on DPS, you'll need to learn the right sequence of buttons to press like you're playing a 7-dimensional accordion. That said, there's one universal trick to
I'll
upping your
just button
mobility no
mash.
matter
It'll
the
be
job, and that's
fine.
the maneuver known as the slide casting. Though you normally have to wait for the entirety of the cast bar to complete, little known fact, once it reaches about 4/5 of the way through, you need no longer restrain your movements as though your feet were sweating Gorilla Glue. And
You see, in Final Fantasy, that's just a mechanic. In World of Warcraft, that's called latency.
you you can afford a small amount of movement without losing possible uptime. Cool tip, this applies not only to the magic DPS, but any skill for any job that has a cast bar. So you can even be a sliding, slicing samurai. The magic limit break, similar to the ranged DPS, is an AoE that deals less base damage than the melees, but can hit multiple targets. In this case, a massive circle instead, and now you can make fun of the boss for not moving out of the obviously telegraphed danger puddle for a change. Boy, do I
Everyone
love throwing
laugh and
stones on my
point at
glass
the
house.
dragon.
Family of Magic is made up of
Stupid
3
dragon.
siblings. Okay, that's a lie, it's actually 4, but the smallest one kind of went a weird career path, and they're not often invited to the New Year's parties. The Black Mage is a fantastic job if you're a fan of Cookie Clicker, because you're pressing the same button over and over again ad nauseum to see big number go During rotation, you start out headbanging explosions at the bad guy like a... until you're completely out of mana. Then you go into a goth phase, where you chug a bunch of cold energy drinks, getting you back to peak performance, where you can go back to...
I like
Although
this
you have
class.
tools to keep yourself mobile like the other mages, you will often be the least dancy and find yourself pitching a tent like you just discovered the sniper tower on Rust. It also wins the award for
Hey.
having the
Don't give away my position.
slowest leveling
Oh, that'd bore the socks off me.
experience ever. Next is a summoner who has gone through so many reworks that odds are by the
This
time
is
this
what I
video is
started
published, it'll
as.
have already been changed into a tank job with 4 dots and another job stone.
And as of this video being made, it's also changed again.
You summon the dragon that nearly destroyed the
Nope.
world 5 years ago, which some may consider in poor taste if they happen to have a loved one's name written in the 7th Umbral Calamity Memorial Museum. And after you're done making them relive their trauma, get to double, triple, and quadruple down on using avatars of terror by summoning
Yeah,
life-size
it's
copies of
changed a
3
bit since
monstrosities that killed a lot of innocent people. Chili Boy gives you slow casts and a gap closer. Thick Thigh Bird Woman drops a mildly uncomfortable
Yo.
breeze. And she, as well as Chicken Nugget, turns you into a physical range DPS, where you no longer have to worry about the cast bar anymore. Suck it, Black Mage. After you're finished offending the local countryside, you bring out a big firebird that'll restore the party's health. Hey, if you're gonna make range DPS
Hey, Ender,
obsolete,
thank
might
you
as
for
well
the
do the
sub.
same for healers too, right? Lastly, the red mage. The
Yeah,
most
Summoner Love. I
fashionable
still
job. You
play
steal
Summoner
gimmicks from everybody
occasionally.
else like you're a YouTuber wanting to make more than minimum wage. You gotta heal like a white mage.
Joe, why are you constantly calling me out? If you want to collab with me, you could just hit me up in the DMs, my guy.
But a little bit less thick. You've got explosions like a black mage, but a little bit less. And you even get a backflip to your death like a dragoon, but a little bit more sexy. In combat, you flip
Yeah.
between using black and white magic attacks in order to build up a mana gauge to spend slashing your sword with a whole lot of sexual tension. Maybe lifting the enemy's chin with the tip of it, saying some threatening innuendo while you're at it. What makes you special aside
Hey guys, I'm just gonna put this out there. Joe missed a beat here. There's a generalization here for DPS, and for any class for that matter, called generators and spenders. You hit the generators enough until your bar, whatever that may be, fills up, and then you hit the spenders. And as a caveat, if you want to be really fancy, you understand where the balance of that spender needs to lie. Sometimes a class will need to go to 50% of their bar, and then use fillers again. And then when you do big damage is when you spend the spenders past 50%. You see, I do know some semantics. I am somewhat savvy with this kind of semantic, having played a warrior my entire life.
from the sick drip and stylish moves is that after each spell you hardcast with a cast bar, any spell that follows is instant, meaning you only have to sit still about half of the time. Suck it, Black Mage. This also means you're even more efficient
Not
at
to
raising
ruin
down
your
allies than the
illusion,
healer,
Gorilla,
since you have
he does
essentially
not talk
infinite
like this
swift
normally.
casts, and the only thing holding you back is the fact that rezzing the whole party will suck you dry like you're an anime boy with no eyes. Red Mage's limit break is also special.
Once again calling out my entire anime collection as a teenager. Just because I enjoyed Bible Black does not mean it needs to be made aware to the rest of the internet. Thank you very much.
In that
Take that, couple nuts!
Oh, punch!
and now you
I
know
can't
how...
get away from the
Yeah, I
pipe
didn't
bangs!
forget. I was just hoping that
Jesus!
you had. Playing Blue Mage is only a portion of the Blue Mage experience. The rest of it is starting sentences involving the job with the words "what about." Yes, though it may be classified in the magical range DPS category, Blue is unique in the fact that 1, to Blue Mage is to suffer, and 2,
I was about
it
to
is
say, I've not heard a
considered
single
limited
person
job,
say a
so
good
it has
thing
to
about
sit
Blue
in the
Mage.
corner all by itself while the rest of the
In fact-
kids on the playground
Another YouTuber I watched, Pint, they made an entire video about how being Blue Mage is secretly the most based thing you could ever do in this game.
actually get to hang out. You are unable to play Blue Mage with the other jobs in most level synced and current content, especially high-end stuff like Savage Raids and ERP. Why is this? Because if it weren't, whoever's in charge of designing and balancing the elaborate and complex boss fights at Square Enix would probably be under suicide watch. Blue Mage's unique power is that it can learn a ton of skills, spells, and abilities from the various enemies and bosses in the game, including but not limited to...
I mean, there's still not as much suicide watch for the people doing that as there are for the people working at Destiny currently, or Bungie, sorry. Smile. Yes, I went there.
There's ultra vibration and rose of destruction and sticky tongue snore mustard bomb. Abyssal transfixion, quasar malediction of water and fire and gun. Peculiar light feather rain and shock strike song of torment and basic instinct. Flying frenzy and loom acorn bomb sonic boom. Flying sardine J kid final sting. Triple trident and white wind in level 5 petra 5,000 needles kinda sucks. There's ink jet and phase and transfusion and blaze. Joko meteor and self-destruct. And now you know how to play magic. You're welcome.
Oh, you could have kept singing. I was transfixed. Right, so in total, those 3 videos should have been roughly 18 minutes of content. I've been recording for 45 minutes. So all I'm going to say is Final Fantasy's pretty cool. I enjoy it. Lynn, what do you think?
I like the part where he said the words. I don't know, man.
Revolutionary.
Jocat talks so fast I can't hardly keep up.
What do you mean? That's how I talk normally. Are you kidding me?
Listen, I'm just here to keep you in check and make sure you react, okay?
Okay, Mom. So yeah, that's the video, guys. Final Fantasy 14. Woo!